Right, folks, I'm Guy Kesterman, the Testaman, and I am delighted to say it's finally time to build up my custom Damn Art floral housecoat wrap, Carbon Wasp, Truffle. If you haven't watched the earlier parts of this story, then please make sure you catch up with my chat with Adrian all about this bike and the sort of backstory between this absolutely horrific but now infamous old lady coat that the original I bought from Cats Protection League in Exeter when I was a punk student, and it followed me all the way through my archaeology years and then mysteriously disappeared when I started courting Sarah, who is now Mrs. Kesterman. And then pictures of it appeared on Facebook a few years ago, and miraculously, a brand new Damn Art housecoat appeared on my doorstep. And at that point, Sarah knew she was beaten. And it's kind of the original dry robe for pensioners, and I've worn it at events, and it's become a bit of a thing. And so Adrian, wanting to, I've ridden the Truffle 120 before when it first came out, but Adrian wanted to do me sort of a special version to make the most of their custom wrap offer on the bikes. It's a little bit of an upcharge as a custom wrap. It normally comes with a single colour wrap, but anyway, here we are. I think it's glorious. You might think otherwise, but the bike underneath is hopefully, and I certainly loved it the first time around, the bike underneath is hopefully going to be an absolute belter. So I'm going to grab the camera, talk to you very briefly through the frame, because, like I say, we've already done this. And then let's crack on with the build, which, as per usual for my builds, I kind of figure with custom builds, you could do the obvious stuff, but there's so much of that about, go for a RockShox fork, go for like all SRAM or all Shimano, something like that, as you build. That's all the bikes I normally test come like that. So, what I'm going to do, typically, is, twist the tail of it a bit and bring in some brands which you might not be considering and see how they do on the bike and see what it ends up looking like, see what it ends up riding like. And it just becomes a whole work in progress, which I'll be swapping bits on and off over the next few months. But obviously start with a quick look at the frame, and then I think we'll get fork and brakes on first, because they're the time-consuming stuff. And the idea is, it's now about 10:30 on Friday night. I've got until I fall asleep tonight, then I'm away all day tomorrow. I'll maybe get a few hours after driving back. It's a friend's funeral, to be honest. John Stevenson, John Abbott Valentine, you may know him as, one of the pioneers of UK mountain bike magazines and UK mountain bike media. Sadly, passed away. So, going to send him off tomorrow and then come back, maybe throw a few more hours at this build, and then I've got to be up at Ardmore's for the Enduro on Sunday morning, which is an absolutely belting event, part of the Ardmore's Hard Rock series. And we always, my riding group, always provide the lead marshals. And now everybody's turning up on a bloody e-bike. It's getting harder and harder to stay ahead of the e-bikes for longer, because the idea is we pre-check all the courses. I'm sorry, but I didn't mean to do all this as an intro, but yeah, we pre-check all the course, check the marshals are in position, check the tapes all sorted, check there's no gaps in it where people might go the wrong way. But every year it gets harder to stay ahead of the e-bikers on an exercise bike. So, hopefully, short travel, relatively lightweight. This is going to be a cracking choice to hold off the surrogate Sauron posse. And the Bosch boys, the Levo Lovelies, whatever you want to call them, they're going to be in hot pursuit. So it's a bit of a hare and hounds is this one, but I like a challenge. And just getting it built is going to be a challenge, because I've just been flat out. So apologies, there has been a bit less content on the channel than I would have liked of late, but I've been doing a whole load of freelance work in the background, which means I've put enough fat on my bones financially that I can spend a lot more time on the channel going forwards. didn't even... All I was going to do was say, here's the bike, let's do some geo and have a quick recap of it. And now you've got a whole bloody life history of me coat, my finances and everything else. And so, less of that. I'll grab the camera, let's have a quick look around the details. So, there's me, in my lovely Christmas jumper. But the key thing to know is that with a 120mm fork, it's a 65.5 degree head angle. It's actually just... In this one, I've already put the Enduro Bearings headset in there just to get things started off. But you can have that set up. I mean, there's a load of customization options with this frame. And one of them is to have a larger diameter top bore there that you can use an angle setting. So if it seems like quite a thick collar there. Adrian has built this bike to be tough. It's not super light. It's 3.1 kilos. So with all the hardware on, that's not bad. Especially considering, you know, it's a handmade frame put together in Leeds. I mean, it's very high quality carbon and everything like that. But, it's not massive industrial complex and, all the attendant R&D advantages that go on with that. And you're also getting features like internal storage on here. So that always adds a bit of weight. But it's actually really neatly done on this. And again, that's an option. You don't actually have to have it on there. But yeah, we've got a butty box on there. We've got 120mm travel at the rear, courtesy of that Cane Creek double barrel inline air shock. See, nice big chunky pivot tops. It's a trunnion mount. You can actually change shock length to change the travel slightly if you want to, and just change progression as well just by moving that bottom shock linkage around if you want. And you can also change things like chainstay length effectively just by changing the position of that. It's an all moulded single rear piece, so it's a twanger. It's a flex stay rear end. It's there's no pivots aft of there, but you can actually change the chainstay length if you want here. But Adrian's just gone for a middle 440 to give a good balanced ride. And then, seat angle, effective seat angle is 76 degrees, and this is large, so effective reach 780mm. And then BB drop, I think, is 33mm, but obviously that'll depend what tyres and what fork are put on there. And then at the back you've got the UDH hanger ready there, and then it's an IS mount actually onto a post mount there, so it just makes the assembly of the bike, the alignment, a little bit easy to set up for Adrian. And also it means you've got some redundancy there, because obviously if you have post mounts on a frame, if you screw up the threads on them, then that's it, pretty much scuppered. But you see, you've got nice detail on there. You've got rubber armour on there, you've got internal cable routing and aluminium bore for the bottom bracket there. You can run a chain guide if you want as well. And again, these are all optional. You can get accessory mounts under there. One thing I nearly panicked about was the fact that I suddenly realised I didn't have an internally routed headset, because I was looking at the frame and going, oh my god, I can't see any ports. And then I realised they're actually under the wrap here. So I've just pushed a small hole through, and then we'll feed the rear brake hose and the dropper post through there. Right, time to get building, I reckon. So, first things first, let's get a fork in there. And seeing as we've got that Cane Creek shock on the back, I thought it would be an interesting time to revisit the Cane Creek helm fork, which has been out. It's been out for a while. This is the Mark II, but even this has been around for a while. You can set it up. It's got a really broad travel range on it. You can run it from 170 through to 120, 160 through to 120, and it's an internal travel change, but it's pretty simple to do. It must be, because even I've managed it. So I've actually set this up as 130, and it's running an air spring. You can get a coil version as well. But to be honest, the main thing, it matches the rear shock, but also, look at this. This is a special limited edition purple fork that Brian at Cane Creek, chatted to him at Core Bike Show, and he was kind enough to send me this absolute beauty of a fork. And from memory, it's a really, really plush, smooth fork as well. The only real issue in terms of building up a lightweight build, it's a bit of a chunker. She's 2.1 kilos, so 2100 grams. So, you know, with a 120mm fork or 130mm fork option on here, I could have actually put something like a SID or the new 34 SL in here, and that would have, saved me best part. Well, it would have saved me 600 grams, actually more than 600 grams compared to the 34 SL. So we are taking a bit of a hit here in terms of overall weight on the bike, but at this point I'm shallow enough to do an extra bit of pedalling just for the fact I think it's going to look bloody gorgeous on this bike, because you can't go wrong with a bit of purple anodizing. So I've saved that PMW loam stem as well to slide on there, because, purple anode. And in true Blue Peter fashion, slide that on there, because it's all pre-cut to the right length, and then just get it snugged up slightly, just enough to keep things in place, and then we'll start adding other bits. Don't know about you, but I think that looks pretty well. Right, time to get some brakes on there, and guess what colour they're going to be. Right, so rear brake is on, and as is typical in these workshopping situations for me, we have done some learning. First off, there is just enough clearance. I was worried when I started putting it on, but there is just enough clearance there between the stay and that XCR E4 caliper. We've also learned that trunnion mount swings super easily, which is the whole point of a trunnion, reduce the stiction on the shock, because I had to take the bottom bolt out of the shock just to flex the swing arm enough to get the hose through nice and neatly. In that process, we also learned that there are some really nice heavy duty stainless steel bolts holding this Truffle together. I mean, that's the kind of thing you do want holding your shock together there. But, that does add a bit of weight. So it's a prime example of where Adrian's not sacrificing strength just to lose a few grams. And frankly, if you're going to ride hard on a bike, I think that's a reasonable trade-off. And also, we can see there's just a little bit of spring in the flexion of that. It's almost a reflex. It kind of gets to that point and then pushes over. But certainly in the start of the stroke there's just a little bit of spring resistance in that flex stay there, which is interesting, because basically, it is a cam, so it's rising up. This section here it's rising up and flexing that stay upwards as you go there. And as it goes over the top, back, it kind of progression. So interesting. I guess it's almost kind of, it is affecting the progression of the shock slightly as it goes through its travel. You are getting a bit more resistance as you get towards sag, and then once you pass sag, it gets into a plusher stroke, which is exactly what you want. And then the final thing, which anyone with any clue of mechanicking would have spotted, but I was too excited to get my fancy forks on, is it's a hell of a lot easier feeding a hose through when you can get your finger up inside the headset to help it through. And the other thing, is everything they say about not pushing pointy objects towards you. Sorry, so plasma gunk leaking out there. I've actually put antiseptic on it. I've been quite clever. Yeah, don't stab yourself in the finger with the small screwdriver that you're using to open the brass ferrule on the brakes, because you forgot to order a new set of hose ferrules off Hope, and so you've had to reuse the old ones. But hopefully it has all gone back together. My finger's got a hole in it, but hopefully my finger's leaking, but hopefully that brake won't be, even though I've reused the bits. But I'm pretty sure that's don't try this at home, folks. Yeah, don't be an idiot like that, chap. That's what I'd say. So, right, I'll put the fork back in, the stem back in, we'll get some bars in. But yeah, Hope XCR brakes. I don't think I've done them for MBR, but I don't think I've done them as a separate review. I'll have to do that then. But basically, it's the XCR lever, so the lightweight carbon-bladed lever with the E4 caliper, which is a thoroughly good thing, more powerful and more heat-resistant than the pure XCR with the 2-port, and as you'd expect, a fair bit lighter than the big clunky tech E4 lever. The only thing you don't get is bite point adjust, but these come on quite far off the bar, which is what I like, so that's all good. Right, so I'll apologise straight away because I've got a bit carried away with the build, and I did a bunch more kit rather than doing it piece by piece. So already had the XCR brakes on there. Now they are sitting on the PNW Loam high-rise carbon handlebar. It's actually a 31.8, which matches the stem. And I'm never sure about the aesthetics of a high-rise bar, but it seems to be the way that everyone's going at the moment. I have tried it. What did I try it on? I did put it on the Trek, and unfortunately I got quite into the ride of it, even though I didn't like the look of it. But it goes with that stem, so, and it's a relatively short head tube. I think it's a 120mm head tube on this Truffle. So maybe some lift will help. I mean, we're doing an enduro first, and it looks kind of enduro appropriate, doesn't it? So anyway, that's what's on there, that carbon coast bar in the high rise. Then we've got PT's grips. That's a bit of a giveaway as to what gearing we might be going for, but just to irritate SRAM, to not be a total SRAM addict, that's an old RockShox reverb lever. It's actually, to be honest, it's actually the one off my Cervelo, which is buried in there somewhere, because I've had to use the reverb post out of that, because I did have a post lined up, but it hasn't arrived yet, and I didn't want to wait any longer, so it will actually have a cable post in here, rather than a wireless post, because that'll save a bit of weight, and it would just be good to get back to a cable. I think I haven't run one for a shockingly long amount of time, which is just a real spoiled brat move, I think. So it'd be good to get back on cable dropper again. And then one more piece, the bit kind of final bit of the purple puzzle. Hope carbon crankset, sitting nice and pretty in the belly of the bike there. And yeah, if you haven't watched I've done a test video report video on this. Again, tough, 504 grams, so decent weight to it. And in this situation, the real bonus is you can change the colour of these parts, because obviously this was the carbon crank that I was running on the Trek Top Fuel project build, which is now on SRAM 90. So this was spare, and I was like, well, if I can get a new chainring and I can get new pedal caps and new axle cap on it, then it'll go with the brakes and the stem. So that's where we are at the moment. Rather a large amount of purple, which, as a mountain biker whose glory days were back in the early 90s, I don't think is a bad thing. So you let me know in the comments what you think of the build so far, and if you'd have done anything differently. Yes, I am thinking of getting some Purple Haze Dominion brakes on there, because I haven't tried them in a while, and it'd be good to bring another brand into the testing lineup. And of course, I've got saddle, wheels, tyres, and rear mech and everything to fit as well. I think you can guess which way the rear mech setup's going, as this has got a UDH rear hanger, and I've already put an eagle axis controller on there. But you probably might even get the wheels as well, because I've already done an intro on them. But the tyres, I don't think you'll get the tyres. So maybe that's the game to play. Guess what tyres I'm going to put on this Truffle, and then hopefully I can get them fitted tomorrow night, and I'll be ready to ride on Sunday morning, because it is actually Saturday morning now. It's gone 1 in the morning, and I've realised I haven't been mic'd up for this, so apologies if the audio is a bit echoey or a bit inconsistent in places. Obviously, unfortunately, pushing it late means I do forget some important things sometimes, but hopefully the actual bike build has been an interesting one to watch, if a little more truncated than normal, just because I'm trying to get stuff together quickly rather than talking through every decision. But, like I say, there's a separate review on the cranks already up. The fork we could talk about later, and the brakes. I'll do a review on as well. If you really want to know, there's a review I've written on MBR, so go and check that, and I might put it in the description as well. But for now, I'm going to go and get a bit of sleep before my mission tomorrow, and I'll leave you to chat amongst yourselves in the comments and to subscribe. Click for notifications if you haven't done either of them. That'll be super helpful. Give it a thumbs up, like. Tell your mates about the channel, and if you really like what I'm doing here, maybe consider supporting me on Patreon, and that gets you early exclusive edits without adverts. Oh, and final thing, if you see me at Ardmore's and I have got this together, then no spoilers for other people in the comments, please. Just come and say hello, have a chat, have a laugh at the finished build, and, let's keep it a secret for the others. But anyway, hope you enjoyed watching it. Make sure you tune in for part 2, where we'll complete the build, hopefully in time, for the Ardmore's Enduro. Cheers, folks.